My name is Sylvanus Thomas Buckland, but they called me Ben. I was born in the Jarrah bush of Western Australia, the son of a convict who carved a life from red soil and hard timber. I learned young that a man is measured by his work, not his past. Through it all, there was Margaret Dawes. She steadied me in ways no fire or saw ever could. And if the sawdust still settles in the morning light, or smoke rises from a fire deep in the bush, then you'll know I was here. My name is Sylvanus Thomas Buckland, but to those who mattered, I was just Ben. This is my story.
Chapter 5. The Next Generation. Thomas Buckland grew up in the rhythm of timber and toil. By the time he was a teenager, he was working alongside his father in the mills, covered in sawdust and grease before breakfast. He was tall, steady-handed, and slow to anger, much like Sylvanus. But unlike his father, Thomas had never known chains or shame. His roots were red earth and bush track, not stone and iron. As Jarrahdale expanded, so too did Thomas's responsibilities. He learned to drive bullock teams, repair the mill's belt-driven machinery, and maintain the steam boilers during dry season shutdowns. He had a quiet confidence that made others listen when he spoke, and trust when he didn't. In the early 1880s, Thomas married Margaret Dawes, a schoolteacher's daughter with a keen mind and a kind heart. Margaret was born on the 12th of September, 1865, possibly at 8 Vestry Room, Church Passage, in the parish of Liberty of the Rolls, within the district of Strand, City of London, Middlesex, England. She was the daughter of Thomas Dawes and Mary Ann Dawes, née Alford. According to the 1871 census, Thomas, recorded under the surname Dowers, was living at the same address with his wife Mary Ann, their children Charlotte, Margaret and Thomas, as well as Mary Ann's mother, 71-year-old Charlotte Alford. Mary Ann Dawes passed away in 1877. By the 1881 census, Thomas Dawes was recorded as a widower, residing at 20 King Street in the district of Lambeth, Surrey, with his children Charlotte, Margaret, Thomas and Samuel. On 23rd January 1885, Thomas Dawes emigrated from England with his children Charlotte, 22, Margaret 20, Thomas 16, Samuel 12, and Sarah Ann 10. They departed from the London docks aboard the vessel Glenavon, bound for the Swan River colony in Western Australia. The family arrived on 21st May 1885. Thomas and Margaret built a modest home near the sawmill and began raising a family of their own. 10 children in total, each one fed on stories of the past and the scent of timber smoke. Their children helped in the orchard, fetched water from the creek, and learned early how to mend things that broke. Among them was a boy named Sylvanus Benjamin Buckland, named for his grandfather, but known simply as Ben, like his father. The name carried a weight and a legacy, and even as a child, young Ben carried it well. Ben's younger brother, John Buckland, was not far behind in age or temperament. If Ben was the rock, John was the river, quicker to laugh, more adventurous, always first to climb a tree or test a new tool. The two boys were inseparable through their youth. They spent their early days building forts in the bush, helping at the mill, and carving wooden swords from offcuts. Their bond was forged from sweat and sap, afternoons fishing in the creek, and evenings by lamplight helping their mother with chores. One day, John said once, gazing out at the hills, "We'll go see what's past the Jarrah line." "As long as we come back," Ben answered.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Chapter 6. War and Memory. The Buckland brothers grew up among the Jarrah trees of Jarrahdale, Western Australia, shaped by sawmills, smoke and silence. But in August 1914, that silence broke. On August 5th, the West Australian declared Australia at war. Bound by empire, Australia followed Britain into the Great War. Ben Buckland read the headline aloud on the veranda. His younger brother, John, just 20, stood beside him. That moment would shape the course of their lives. In 1916, both brothers enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force, training at Black Boy Hill near Perth, before being posted to different units. John joined the 51st Battalion, embarking from Fremantle aboard HMAT Cervic on the 6th of June 1916. Ben followed later, likely serving as a stretcher bearer with the 11th Battalion. John's training in England began with energy. His letters were filled with sketches and jokes about army rations. But on the 8th of October 1916, he went absent without leave for a single day, punished with 1 day's field punishment and 2 days lost pay. A moment of hesitation, then back to duty. By November, John was in France. The trenches were brutal, cold, shelling and sickness. On 25th June 1917, near Messines, he suffered shell shock. He returned to the front, but was killed in action during an artillery barrage on 7th July. He was 20. His body was never recovered. John is remembered at the Menin Gate in Ypres and memorials in Jarrahdale and Byford. His once cheerful letters stopped. The kitchen table at home grew quieter. His mother kept his last letter in a drawer, folded and refolded until the creases wore through. She would sit by the window, lips silently moving over the faded lines. Ben's path was different. 4 weeks after entering camp, Sylvanus was assigned to the 13th Reinforcement Draft for the 28th Battalion on the 4th of April 1916. After basic training, he embarked on the HMAT Siang B for England on the 18th of July. He trained at Rollestone with the 7th Training Battalion before heading to France aboard HMT Victoria on the 2nd of November. He joined the 28th Battalion on the 18th, just as snow gave way to cold rain at the front. On the 6th of May, 1917, he presented to the 4th Field Ambulance, then transferred the same day to the 5th. On 12th May, he was admitted to the 9th Casualty Clearing Station and later the 6th General Hospital in Rouen, suffering from pulmonary catarrh. On the 8th of June, he was evacuated to England aboard HMHS St David and admitted to the 1st Southern General Hospital in Birmingham. By 23rd July, he was transferred to the 3rd Australian Auxiliary Hospital at Dartford, then to the No. 2 Command Depot in Weymouth. Over 2 months, he moved between bases at Codford, Perham Down and Sutton Veny. He returned to Australia and was discharged by the 5th Military District on the 10th of April 1918. When the train pulled into Jarrahdale, Ben stepped off with his brother's photo tucked into his pack and a silence deeper than the battlefield behind him. The town welcomed him back, but his gaze often drifted to the hills where he and John once roamed. He found solace in routine, in chopping wood, walking old trails, and the familiar creak of the mill. Jarrahdale sent 200 men to war. 41 did not return. Among them, John Buckland, a name carved in stone and carried in silence.
In August 1936, Sylvanus Thomas Buckland took his final breath in the timber town of Jarrahdale. a father, a husband, and a man shaped by the forest. His name now rests in stone, but his story lingers in the Jarrah leaves.
My name is Sylvanus Benjamin Buckland. I was one of 10 children. I grew up among the Jarrah trees of Jarrahdale. In August 1914, when Australia joined the Great War, everything changed. I enlisted in 1916, served overseas, and was discharged in 1918. I had gone to war and later lived through the hardship of the Great Depression. Annie grew up next door. After the war, we grew close. We married in 1922 and raised 4 children together. Her quiet strength helped me more than words ever could. I worked at the mill again and often enjoyed a quiet beer at the Millbrook pub after a long day. My name is Ben Buckland, and this is our story.